everybody. Welcome back to Sideline Summit. This is episode 24. This is going to be the Kobe, the Mamba episode. I'm Antonio Perez, joined by my co-host Daniel Cole, and we have a guest today, Chris. It's good to have you on, man. We had to bring on a Lakers fan for this episode. We talked last week on Effin Sports with Parker. This is going to be a fun episode. Obviously, we're going to talk some Lakers as much as it hurts me, but we're also going to be talking about Kobe. It's going to be a good episode. Before we start, Chris, how you doing this morning?
Pretty good, man. It's a good hump day. I'm happy about that. Can't be mad about a good hump day. And I'm in Dallas. It's not too bad weather-wise, so I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I've been waiting for this episode all week. Danny, how are you doing today?
It's great. I mean, are you a Cowboys fan too out in Dallas?
No. So I
That's
moved
good.
to
That's good.
Dallas. I moved to Dallas 5 years ago now. I'm originally from Chicago, but I'm also not a Bears fan either, or Bulls fan, or Cubs or White Sox fan. So I don't have any fandom from home.
It's good to know.
Well, that's good to hear because I'm an Eagles fan. I'm a fan of every Philadelphia team besides the Sixers.
Okay.
And I come to that conclusion oddly because of Paul Pierce. Of all people, he is just my guy.
Oh.
I know it's very, very random, but that's my guy for sure.
The Paul's the truth, though, so you're good.
Yeah, I mean, they forget how cold he was, man. He was no Mamba, but don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
he was the truth, except when he said the Celtics were going to beat the Bucks after they went up 2-0.
They went up 1-0. They went up 1-0, and he said it was over. That was rough. But yeah, talking about the Lakers currently as constructed, the talks of a Russ and Kyrie trade have gone down, but I don't think that really counts the Lakers out yet. I think Darvin Ham is going to – he was second in line to get the Celtics coaching job to Ime Udoka. So I think that's a good culture plug there. Obviously, you have LeBron, who obviously he doesn't like losing as much as anybody else in the history of the game. I think a healthy AD is still the best. He could be the best big man in basketball. I think Jokic and Embiid have really stepped into their primes right now, but AD could be right there with them when healthy. And I think Westbrook still has potential there in that offense if he's willing to just play a role. Chris, obviously you probably watched him much more than I am, but could you see a world where the Lakers can get 55 plus wins if Westbrook simply maybe took on just the main playmaking roles, or just simply just try to not take as many shots as usual like he did in Houston?
Yeah, I expect them to get 55 plus wins, and it's a couple reasons why. Outside of me being like a big Russ fan, like I've watched Russ for a long time. I think last year was just a show of kind of Frank Vogel putting him in a space to make too many decisions, if that makes sense. I think Darvin Ham will put him in a spot to where he either has one or two decisions. Either you make the pass or you make the layup. And I think last year was a lot of Russ is our point guard, so we put him in the space to do point guard things. That's why you got a lot of bad jumpers. You got a lot of drives to the lane, throw it out of bounds type of plays. And I mean, Russ has done that over his career. But I think since his athleticism was kind of going down a little bit, he was able to make those plays out of just being more athletic than everybody else. So I think Darvin Ham will kind of get him to kind of realize that it's like he's older now. He's 33, I want to say. And so it's like he got to, kind of adjust his game. But I see him put him in spaces to where they can play faster. That's one thing Darvin Ham said all year. I mean, all since he's been, announced the coach, they want to play faster. And I think that'll work in Russ's advantage because at the end of the day, if there's one person who can make a good bad play, it's him. Like if he can make a play to a drop off to a big man or kick to a corner for something like that, Russell Westbrook's the guy. So I think it'll be a lot better. And what you said at the top of the show, Anthony Davis being healthy is really the key, honestly and truly. Because at the end of the day, he's going to make the defense better. He's going to help a lot of bailouts. He'll get a lot of tip-ins. He'll do a lot of the small things that don't really always show up on the stat sheet. But he'll be the guy that's there. And I think they can just get through the regular season and stay away from the play-in tournament. I think they got a good chance.
Yeah, definitely. Drawing comparison between Russ and Ja, Tone really says this a lot. He says that Ja needs to buy into the system. And I think if Russ buys into the Lakers' new system, then they'll really see a lot of new, just like opportunity to even win 60 games.
If you have LeBron James on your team, I mean, anything is possible. Since he got to the Lakers, I was a type of LeBron guy to be like, oh, he doesn't have to prove anything. Like, he's arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. But I've also come to the point where I'm like, if LeBron is just going to keep playing at this elite level, I have to hold him to certain standards. I get it. It's unfair. He's like 37, going to be 38. He's about to be in season 20. But if you keep playing at this level, keep playing like arguably a top 5 player in the world, arguably best player in the world, then you just have to uphold to these standards. And that's kind of unfair for him because he's been doing it for a long time. But, I mean, AD is still all NBA level. Russell Westbrook is more than a serviceable point guard. He is easily one of the 15 best point guards in the league still, despite his horrid season. But outside of the star power, there is a lot of questions on the Lakers. There's not a lot of depth. From what I've heard is that Kendrick Nunn was a huge piece before he got hurt. Austin Reeves is going to have to take honestly, he's going to have to take a Duncan Robinson level jump to be quite the role player for them. Are there any like couple role players for the Lakers that you do like? I heard that some people like Stanley Johnson. A lot of people like Malik Monk before we go. I like the Lonnie Walker signing. What are like three or four role players that you think could really step up this year and help contribute to the depth of the Lakers?
Scottie Pippen Jr.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think if he gets some run, I think he'll be pretty good. But the three I'd say, but Thomas Bryant for one, I think he's like my favorite. We talked about that on Belly Up a little bit, Antonio. So I like Thomas Bryant a lot. I like Lonnie Walker sign a lot, and I think Kendrick Nunn will be a big piece too. And I kind of want to throw THT in there only because I feel like, and I've seen this on Twitter, but it's something I've been thinking as well. Like THT's been in every trade talk for 3 years now. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a chance to prove yourself, this would be that year, to really show that you shouldn't be traded, or at the very least get your trade value up so you can get something for you type of thing. But I think those three will be my guys. I want to see Lonnie Walker in a Malik Monk type role. I think he can fill that role pretty well, like a athlete who can, shoot the ball enough. And I think people kind of got down to shooting a lot. But I mean, he didn't shoot a lot of good shots last year. I mean, the Spurs weren't a great team, but I mean, the spacing wasn't great. So I think he'll have more open shots. I want to see how Lonnie Walker does. Thomas Bryant clearly signed with the Lakers to prove something, and I love Thomas Bryant as a player anyway. The energy he brings, how hard he plays, and that's something that you need throughout the 82 games of regular season. When you have LeBron being 38, when you have AD, going to sit some games here and there, Russ being older, you need that energy at all times. I think Thomas Bryant will bring that. And I think Kendrick Nunn will be really, really good too. I think he would have been good before he got hurt. Just to be a change of pace guard, he could still go score it off the dribble on his own. You kind of put LeBron in that point forward role again. I think it gives a lot of flexibility to the team. So I want to see those three guys, and I'm really excited to see them play.
One guy that you haven't mentioned, second round pick Max Christie. How do you feel about him? Because I really think he can be that spot up Danny Green level player on a championship caliber team.
Honestly and truly, I like Cole Swider more than Max Christie.
Really? Wow.
The second rounder, yeah, we do. Only because he's 6'7". He can really, really shoot it. I think Max Christie's more of a 3-and-D guy, but I think he can shoot it enough. He can shoot it enough, but I like Cole Swider a lot. But I think Max Christie, as he gets, acclimated to just the size of the players in the NBA, I think that's what I've seen him in some leagues. I've watched all Lakers games, of course, really, really closely just to see like what young guys you have. And I think the only thing about Max Christie is got to realize that he is kind of bony, like just a little frail for what the NBA is right now, like how Scottie Pippen Jr. does, how you kind of spoke on before. Scottie Pippen Jr. has figured out how to make the plays, how to get into the lane, how to, use his small frame to his advantage. And I think once Max Christie does that, has a little bit of time in the G League to kind of figure that out, I think he'll be really, really good. But I really like Cole Swider now that you mentioned the Summer League guys. I think he's a guy that at the least he can shoot it at an NBA level. And on the team with LeBron James, I've seen players like Anthony Parker, Boobie Gibson. I've seen players make contracts off of just being able to make open shots. So I think Cole Swider could be one of those type of guys for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
What this shows me is that for the longest time, the Lakers have been the Lakers are probably some of the greatest drafters of all time. You got Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, D'Angelo Russell. They didn't draft Kobe Bryant, but they traded for him right after. And all these guys were mentioned, Summer League, Scottie Pippen Jr., but their player development is harsh because the stars want to come to LA, whether that's Rob Pelinka's fault or not. And players want to win championships. You don't go there to rebuild. So I don't even know how good their player development actually is. Like, you never really get to know. Let's say LeBron didn't go to LA. I would bank Lonzo still being there. He was a 6-6 guy his rookie year. Everyone's saying that's a bad rookie year, but he only averaged 14, 6, and 6 at UCLA. So that's what I fully expected. Kyle Kuzma's getting 18 a game. That's exactly what you want to see out of a late first round pick. They had the pieces, but you win a championship with it, and that's really all you need to solidify your win in a trade. But the point of this is they're not going to have a first round pick till 2027. It's 2022 now. This could be LeBron's last year on the Lakers, considering Bronny might be able to be draft eligible. And if he's not, he always talks about how maybe I'll be back in Cleveland. So let's say this is last season, 2023. So from 24, 25, 26, 3 years without a first round pick. Would you rather just tank those years? Or would you rather tank those years, try to be competitive, or in that tank, are you willing to trade Anthony Davis, try to get some of those picks back if he's worth anything, if LeBron's leaving?
I think, to be honest and truly with you, I think you try your best to move Anthony Davis at that point if LeBron's leaving. Because, I mean, Russ will be up. He'll just be the last guy.
I'd agree.
And even though I love AD, like I said, I'm from Chicago, he's one of the guys that I really do support. He's probably going to be your best assets you can get things from, similar to what the Jazz are doing with Gobert and Mitchell. Like, you have to get something for him if you're going to try to move forward. So I think that'll probably be your play. And I think it'll be a lot of teams at that point, they'll be looking for Anthony Davis, a two-way game changer at the end of the day. And you being the Lakers, you can finesse a lot of value out of that player right there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that'd probably be the best play to do, especially if he's your last star there. Because even though I love Anthony Davis, it's just the fact you can't really depend on him to be healthy all the time. And I mean, if you can have a team that's going to take a chance on it and give you a big return, I feel like you got to take that, especially if you're the Lakers, because at the end of the day, you get a big return. You get a free agency splash, you can make a big trade. Now you're back to having 2 or 3 stars. You know, it doesn't take much for the Lakers to really get back to what they want to be. So that's probably the route I'd take.
One question I have for you. If the Lakers come out, underperform again, at the deadline, looks like they're not even going to make the play-in again. Do you trade AD at this deadline?
I feel like it's got to look at you got to kind of gauge what LeBron's going to do. Because I feel like if you think LeBron's going to re-sign with you after the year, I feel like you got to keep Anthony Davis. But if you feel like you're a little up in the air with it, and if as an organization from that standpoint, you might have to think about it. But I mean, at the end of the day, what do you even ask for back? You know? I mean,
yeah, it's the KD rule. And at that point, especially with you might even look and say, I could trade LeBron. If you're really thinking you're not going to make the play-in,
LeBron James would never be traded in his life.
I don't think that would,
unless he asks for it, you can't trade LeBron James.
The only way
you'd have to be looked at as the most horrendous and stupid organization ever if you traded LeBron James, one of the 2 or 3 best basketball players of all time. Looking back on it, the history books would just make you look dumb. I remember that was actually a topic of discussion a couple years ago, and I was just like, what are we talking about? The dude's averaging 28, 7, and 7 at like 35 years old. What the hell we're talking about.
It's insane.
I think that's nuts.
I think that would be like the craziest thing I've ever seen if a LeBron trade room even came up. It's like, even at 38, what do you get back? Because I mean, you have the discussions with KD being 34, and what do you get back for him? Like, LeBron's 4 years older, but he's playing at a, you can say, arguably a higher level than Kevin Durant right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what do you even get back? So I think, now to answer your question, I think you probably keep AD just to see, because I mean, seasons can turn around. You know, you can see what can happen. I mean, all you have to do is get LeBron into the play-in or playoffs, and you have a chance to go as far as you can. In my opinion, like I said, I have a bias, of course, it's my guy, but at the end of the day, I think you just got to try it. And I mean, if LeBron's gone and when Russ is gone off the books, then if you move AD, you really start with a clean slate. So I feel like then you kind of wait until that time until you can really start all the way over. You know,
that's the THT era.
Yeah. Oh goodness, no. Yeah. It is the THT era, and then you'll see exactly how good he really is. I mean, I like THT. And THT, another Chicago kid, I like him. He went to Simeon too. I watched him from high school up. He was really, really good. And I think he's good for what type of player he is. But I think that stretch he had of that 10, 12 games, I think it kind of put his real value and how good he was out of perspective a little bit. He's playing out of his mind. I think he's a really good role player on a good team. He can even be a starter on a good team. But to be like the trade piece to get a big guy, I don't think he's there yet. Or he just hasn't proven it yet. But I think he's a good player for sure. I think if you're a younger team like the Hornets. You can play him at your shooting guard and be happy with him being your 2 with a LaMelo Ball. I think he's that type of guy who can get you 13, 4, and 4 on a good season and really be an impactful player. But like Antonio said earlier, you don't really have time to develop on the Lakers. It's championship or nothing. So we can't see how good he can develop. Kind of like with Kuzma, he plays 20 minutes, doesn't give you anything. He's not playing for 2 or 3 games, So it's hard to kind of get a good gauge on him, really.
Guys, the only player to start in the All-Star game without having started a single game that season up to the All-Star break is Kobe Bryant. Guys, I'll let Chris go first. We'll probably go like 2 trips around with our favorite Kobe Bryant memories. Guys, if you didn't know, for every like or download this episode gets, me and Danny will be donating $2 to the Mamba and Mamba Seats Sports Foundation, a foundation that helps underserved kids, helps them get into camps and afford the things that they need to go pursue their dreams. Obviously, a foundation in memory of Kobe Bryant, Gigi Bryant, and the others fallen on that helicopter crash. So, guys, to help us, help others, it's for a great cause. Chris, you can start first. Give us one of your 2 favorite Kobe Bryant memories.
It's about my favorite memory. I'll start with, and it's probably gonna be a little funny, but my favorite Kobe Bryant memory is when Matt Barnes was faking the ball at him and he didn't move at all. Like, he kind of just looking him straight in the face, and I think it was just incredible because after that moment, he torched the Magic even more. Like, he really started going off. And everybody who talks about it, even after Kobe's passing, they talk about, even Matt Barnes on his pod with Steven Jackson.
All the smoke, yeah.
All the smoke, yeah. They talked about it. He was just like, bro, he fried us after that. And he just really didn't move. And if you watch it, he's like going side to side, really looking Matt Barnes dead in the face, like with no care in the world he's going to hit him in the face with the ball. Maybe he knew it because it's the NBA and nobody really fights for real. Or maybe he just wasn't scared. But either way, it's just an amazing clip to me because it's like, it just shows how locked in he was into not only to winning a game, but into his opponent, into the mental game, into every piece of that play in that game. You could just see how locked in Kobe was. And I think that's probably one of my favorite moments just because it's like nothing can deter this dude, like nothing. And I mean, even if you're the toughest guy, somebody flinch a ball in your face, you probably jump a little bit, maybe bat your eyes or something.
Little blink.
He didn't do anything. He literally stood there like nothing was happening. I think that it's just an embodiment of who he was. I mean, like the Mamba mentality, everybody says it now, but it's really just being locked in on what you have, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish. Even though it wasn't a playoff game or whatever game it was just a huge moment for me just to be like, no matter what's going on, you got to lock into what you're doing. Like, I took it bigger than just the basketball game. You have to lock into what you're doing and be focused, laser focused, and that's what he was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Danny,
definitely agree with that. I'm going to go right
Danny,
into
just 1 second. Danny, 1 second before you go. A funny thing about that, because of that moment, Kobe Bryant reached out to Matt Barnes and said, "Do you want to be a Laker the next season?"
Yep.
Something crazy.
I was just
all right, Danny, hit off on yours.
Yeah, mine really hits on the Mamba mentality as well. Mine is towards Achilles, came back out, drained them 2 free throws.
Huge,
just something
man.
different about that, man. It on a torn Achilles. You saw what Kevin Durant was like in the finals. He walked back out there and made 2 free throws. People can't walk on torn Achilles, and he was out here
sinking clutch free throws. And it was only a clutch game because Kobe Bryant was in the game. That team was sorry, to say the least.
Yeah.
Kobe drug him to the playoffs, and then he couldn't even participate in them. That was tough. Yep. I like that one, Danny. I like that one. I like the Matt Barnes one. Both are true embodiments of what he brought to basketball and what he really was. It's funny to say this is my favorite. I was 8 years old. I wasn't too into basketball. All I knew was winning and losing. All I know is, all right, the Celtics are on TV. We're going to watch. At 8 years old, it was 2010 season, but it was 2011. Kobe Bryant, we're up 3-2. Celtics up 3-2 against the Lakers. Lakers trying to go back-to-back. Celtics trying to get 2 out of 3. And Kobe Bryant shattered my heart for the first time. I was hurt. Like, before the entire decade of LeBron ruining my Celtics life, Kobe Bryant did it first. He came back from 3-2, won his 5th, and looking back on it, that 5th probably meant everything to him. He got one more than Shaq. He went back-to-back as the best player on a championship team, 2-time Finals MVP, which just because he didn't get all 5 of them does not mean 2 is not super impressive. And the thing about Kobe is if Jason Tatum could actually end up being like half of what Kobe is, we're probably going to win a couple championships. That's my favorite thing. That was probably my favorite moment about Kobe, the fact that he will take your, like how Brian Dawkins will say for the Eagles, Kobe will take your soul. He will like, his buckets are demoralizing. They're long fadeaways. They're dunking on 4 people. They're late shot clock 3-pointers. Like, his buckets are so devastating and artistic because he's the best footwork. He's like Hakeem's footwork, except he's pulling it out to the 3-point line. Yeah, that's a favorite one. We're running a little long on this, so we're going to go quick rapid round on our last favorite Kobe memories, and we're going to get Chris out of here. Chris, you can go ahead with your second one.
Oh yeah, my last one would be Kobe's last game. Actually, I think it's one of my favorite moments just because Shaq asked for 50 for Kobe, and he ended up getting 60.
Get that motherfucker 60.
And it talks and kind of what you talked about. It just was a lot of tough shots. I think Kobe's the greatest tough shot maker I've ever seen in my life.
I agree.
That game at that age and that many years in the league, he made so many tough shots, so many, like you said, long fades, so many left hand floaters. Everything, the culmination of Kobe's career, he did a little bit of everything in that last game. And like you said, somebody asks you for 50 and you give them 10 more points on your ending game, and then you kind of end the Jazz like that. It was beautiful to watch, man. So I think that's probably my second favorite memory right there.
Yeah, I really think that's my favorite memory as well, just because it's on my birthday, April 13th.
That's awesome.
So I forever remember that because it's on my birthday. So what I will say instead of that is going to be Kobe leading his Lower Merion to their first state championship against, I believe they were playing Chester, which is a local school right near us.
School rival, ain't just any.
Yeah.
Good to see them get the piss beat out of them. Nah, Kobe is like a true, like, Kobe's an icon, obviously, but in the Delaware County and Philadelphia area, he's even bigger. You'll see everywhere you go, every beach you go to, every concert, someone's got that Lower Merion Kobe Bryant jersey on. So, Danny, I like that one too. I love the 60-point game. I chose to watch Kobe's last game over the Warriors getting their 73rd win, as every human should have.
Yeah.
My other favorite Kobe Bryant memory would have to be, I think it's actually ironic because everyone knows him for the tough shots and taking lots of shots, and that's what he had to do. You're going to miss him, you're going to make him. My favorite is his lob to Shaq, because when he was with Shaq, him and Shaq were such underrated playmakers. I feel like they created for each other so well. And that was a huge moment. Kobe threw the lob. Shaq pointed up to Sharif in the stands. That was huge. And Kobe Bryant is such an underrated playmaker. I believe for his career, he averages 25, 5, and 5. That is 5 assists a game is phenomenal. He's very smart. And a 2-guard. I saw his Twitter thread because TikTok will tell you Kobe's not top 10 all time. Twitter will tell you he's top 5. I'm going to go with Twitter. Twitter has these threads of Kobe, and there was this nice little 4 or 5 game stretch where he had to play point guard.
Yep.
He only averaged 15 points. He averaged like 12 assists, and he averaged like 9 rebounds. Like, he could have walked to a triple double in his sleep if he really wanted to, because he's one of, in my opinion, he's one of the 4 greatest basketball players of all time. My 1, 2, and 3 being MJ, Bron, and Kareem. But if someone told me Kobe is top 3, Kobe's a GOAT, I won't disagree, because they probably watched him a lot more than I have in my career as a Celtics fan. But again, rest in peace to the Black Mamba and all those affected in the helicopter crash a couple of years ago. I remember where I was when that happened. It's truly a tragedy, but we do miss him. We do miss him a lot.
I just saw a TikTok the other day. It said, every man remembers where they were when Kobe Bryant died. And it's true.
That's absolutely true.
Where they were.
Yep.
I was with 2K.
sitting
You
down
was playing.
watching. I was playing 2K, sitting down watching. I was playing 2K, but I was literally turning on an episode of Detail, like to listen to him talk about. I think was it Jason Tatum? It might have been Jason Tatum. I think about watching Jason Tatum, and I was
I watched
just in
that
our group
episode
chat.
like every other week.
And when I got the news on my Twitter, I thought it was like a joke, Like I thought it was a joke. So I was
The
already playing the
TMZ
game.
thing, I
I,
was.
I thought it was a joke, and I was like, wow, I remember exactly where I was at. Yep.
Crazy thing, I think Kobe flew to Philly to see LeBron hit one of his
Mhm.
milestones the day, like 2 days before
To
it happened.
pass Kobe in points.
Yep.
Yeah,
In points.
It's wild,
yeah.
man.
So
That
he
is
flew to
wild.
Philly. So I guess he was around Philly getting cheesesteaks and all that. And he flew back, and it's terrible news.
No.
Yeah. Well, rest in peace to the mama, Gigi, and all those on that tragic day that passed away. Chris, thank you for coming on so much. We really do appreciate it. We love talking Kobe. I hate
No,
talking
thanks
the
for having me,
Lakers,
man.
but I like talking shit about the Lakers. So that was fun. Chris, let us know where we can find you at Twitter, the podcast, anything that's going on. Just please plug it. Let us know.
Yep. I'm at Coulter Boy on Twitter, COULTR_BOY, and I'm that on all platforms. If you ever want to talk or want to talk to me, YouTube is the Coulter Boy Show. I have a couple of things lined up, getting ready to put on there now. So if you want to go subscribe and see what's going on, just go and check it out. And then, like I said, I've been guesting on pods and talking to these radio shows. It's really been really cool. It's like my first year really getting into it outside of doing YouTube. So it's been really exciting. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. Make sure you have a good day, guys. Go follow Chris on basically everywhere. He's got great content, and yeah, it was great having you, man.
Thanks, man. See you guys.
We'll talk to you later.
Peace.
Thanks to Chris again, guys. Remember, every like and download is $2 to the Mamba Foundation, Mamba and Mamacita Foundation. While we're on the topic of basketball, let's just go with right into our next topic of worst to first in the Western Conference. We did this with football a little bit, and basketball is a little more difficult. So worst to first will kind of be like lottery team to potential playoff team. Like there's no team that was in the lottery this year that's probably going to the finals. So Danny, I'm gonna let you rock out first. In the Western Conference, what teams do you think were in the lottery looking bad, and you think they could probably get maybe a top 5 seed, top 6 seed? We'll say play-in doesn't really count.
Here's where it's gonna be. I'm gonna start with the hot take: the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I actually like that one. I actually do.
OKC.
But expand.
You got your young guards. You got Lou Dort, SGA, Josh Giddey. You got your center who people don't want to realize it. He can give you 25 and 9 in every game.
I think he could give you 5 blocks. He's a rim evaporator.
He can give you
really
25.
And they got
9,
Poku.
And this team's deep. And they got both Jalen Williams. Like, this team has so much depth. And in a West where teams are just star-driven, a team that has young depth might win a lot of games. And you see that with none other than the Memphis Grizzlies. So watch out.
I agree. I think that's actually a really good pick. They remind me of the Cavs of last year a little bit, but they don't got like that Kevin Love, like that little veteran presence. I mean, Lou Dort is getting not a little older. I'm not calling him old. He's got some years under his belt, but he ain't no Kevin Love. I do like that pick a lot. I'm going to pick the Houston Rockets. I'm a huge Jalen Green fan, huge Kevin Porter fan. I think Jabari Smith was supposed to. I didn't think he was number one. I thought he was going to go number one. I mean, he's a stretch 5. I mean, in this summer league, he's not getting the touches you'd like him to get. But that's fine. You all know his game. You know what he's capable of. I think I like the Thunder as a pick too. The Thunder and the Rockets, I think, are going to surprise a lot of people this year. Jalen Green was really picking up the steam at the end of the year. I think that's going to transition. SGA, we all know he's a all-star caliber player. He is phenomenal. Giddey can be a future all-star. Chet could be a future all-NBA guy. Whether they tap into the potential early or not is up to these Rockets and Thunder. And you're going to have to catch some breaks on the way, of course. As long as we both agree it's not the Kings. But
yeah. What I'll say next was understood. Everyone knows, right? The Lakers. They were a lottery team. and they could be a
That's
top 5 seed. We don't have to say that. We don't have to say it.
That's a cheat code. No, we're not talking about that.
We're not talking about the Lakers.
I'd have been a sneaky way to get around it, though.
Yeah, I had to note that we can't say the Lakers because it's not fair.
Yeah, but that
My other team,
much noted.
The Trailblazers.
I like that.
Dame, you got Shaden Sharp. You got a bunch of young guys. You got
Jeremy Grant. That's a good
Kevin
vet.
Durant.
That's a good scoring vent. They will not be getting Kevin Durant. I don't think they'll go after KD, but I mean, it's hard to see a world where a duo of Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant isn't a top 4 seed in the West. I do like that pick. We haven't seen Dame healthy in a while. I'm really interested in how to see how he bounces back, coming back this season. Sorry. My next pick, Pop could shock the world and take this horrid basketball team to the playoffs, but I just don't. If Pop can't even do it, if LeBron can't even take this team, but if Pop can't even get this team to playoffs, they're pretty bad. So I can't really rock out with them. I think I would have to go. I guess you could technically say the Clippers, but we can't really say that either. The same situation with the Lakers. They just simply weren't healthy. I'm actually struggling to think of
there's no other teams. There's only 5
I would
teams.
say I think
Clippers, Spurs, Lakers, Kings, Blazers, Thunder, Rockets. We've exhausted all of our options.
Yeah, I believe we did. If we're looking at, if you're looking at all your options here, and Thunder and Rockets were the last 2. Like, they were the last 2 in the conference. And we picked the Blazers. The Kings aren't making it for shit. The Spurs are probably going to be dead last in the conference. The Lakers, not a valid option.
Clippers, not a valid option.
Yeah, so you got to look out for Blazers, Thunders, Rockets to go from the lottery, the 3 worst teams in the West, potentially making a top 6 seed. I'm very excited for all of these teams. They made some moves. I'm excited. I don't
know if you watch the Summer League much, but Jabari Smith looks really good. He looks like that stretch 4, maybe even stretch 5 that they need in Houston. Yeah,
it's good. And to pair with Green and Porter, it matches the timeline. That's really important in the league. One thing I wish I'd never get to see again is Richard Jefferson being an NBA referee. That was horrible.
He doesn't know. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. But all love for Rich Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to see the other side of it, and credit to him.
But he made a joke. He called himself Ref Jeff.
He's Richard Jefferson. So we're gonna do a take the skyline segment. We're gonna probably do a lot of these until the NFC season. The NFC North over under on wins. Now, I'm on important nonsense trying to find them, but doesn't seem like I can. Don't know why. All right. Well, while we load it up, I think we all know the Packers are going to be the favorites. That's not what we're really getting at here. We're looking at total over under wins. Let's say
the Packers are set at 11.
They're set at 11.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna go with Fox Sports. Yeah, I got it pulled up. While you mentioned it, yeah, we could start with the Packers. They 11.5 wins. Now, how this works is, if they get 11, that's under. If they get 12, that's over. Obviously, because 11.5 isn't a real number. So the point of over under is they're forcing you to make a pick. So, Danny, 11.5 wins. Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. What you got? Over under?
We're going over.
You got over. You got over.
I got the Packers going. I got the Packers going at minimum 11-6. I think that's their floor. I think they have a top 5 defense in the league, and just having Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and AJ Dillon, you automatically have a top 15 offense in the league. Therefore, I'm going over. They're not going to lose many games, especially in a weak North.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I got the schedule pulled up here. I don't. They realize they could. I think 5-1, 5-1 in their division. Maybe split with the Vikings.
They usually split with the Lions just because of some weird stuff.
I don't see them losing the Lions this year.
No,
They lost last year off the craziest stuff.
On some weird time, they usually just like bench Aaron Rodgers in week 18. I don't know.
Yeah, that's usually the thing. I mean, that very well could be the thing. Yeah, they play the Lions week 18, so maybe that's a loss. So maybe they go 4-2 in the division.
They played the Lions last week last year.
But
so
there
I
are
don't know
some
why.
games. There are some games you could look at here. There are some games that could make you think, maybe hesitate on it. Week 3 they got Tampa Bay. Week 4 is the Patriots. Patriots are still a solid squad as they were last year. They get the Giants. They get a whole New York stay for a couple weeks as they take on the Giants and the Jets. That is 2 wins, regardless of how many moms Zach Wilson sleeps with. Commanders, that's 3 easy wins, man. That's 3 easy wins. Bills Packers is going to be a phenomenal game. You're going to be seeing a lot of crazy throws from Allen and Rodgers. After that, they get the Lions win. Then they play the Cowboys. They use Rodgers.
You got 2 Allen, man. You got Allen Lizard, and you got
Allen Lizard. Yes, Allen Lizard, fantasy wide receiver 1.
Yes, he is.
But I mean, you got kind of a tough stretch of games after that Lions game. I mean, 3 of your 5, really. You got Bills, and then you got to face the Lions. You got Cowboys, Titans, Eagles. That's a couple tough games. I mean, the Titans fell off a little bit. I think they did. They're fraudulent. But I'm actually very excited for that Eagles game, man. This is going to be one of Hurts's biggest battle-tested games against Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has success against the Eagles throwing the ball. It's going to be a fun game. Aaron Jones will be non-existent. Don't start him that week. Jordan Davis is eating all that up. And then they got the Bears. They got the Rams. It's a tough game. Dolphins, another tough game. But I think I'd agree. I think I see them. I would take the over on this one. I'd absolutely agree. Which team you want to do next? The closest one is the Bears.
We'll do the Vikings next.
You want to do the Vikings? All right. Let me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find them somewhere. Here we go. Minnesota, I feel like, has a pretty low one. 8.5 wins. What do we think?
I'm taking the over. Minnesota, I think they're going to go 10-7, sneaky for a wild card. I think they'll be competitive. They're bringing Kevin O'Connell, Cooper Kupp's offensive coordinator, giving to the best wide receiver in the league. Arguably, he's my best. He's going to take that crown this year. Justin Jefferson has been the best receiver in the league when he came in. He has over 500 yards more than any other person who's been in the league since then. He's just ridiculous. Him. That is
ridiculous, man. Well, we're looking at the Viking schedule, man. You start out 2 rough games. You got Packers, Eagles. You got the Lions, the Saints, the Bears. I think that's 3 wins for them. I do believe that's 3 wins for them. The Saints are a sneaky team this year. I think that's 3 straight. Mm-hmm. I think they lose to Miami. I think that's going to be super tough. But the battle of Hill and Jefferson, that is going to be phenomenal. But I think the X factor there doesn't lie with the Vikings. It lies in Jalen Waddle. You hit your bye week. Coming out the bye week, you got two of your 3 tough games. Cardinals, week 8, D-Hop's going to be back. He's going to be super fresh. You got the Commanders.
Wait, how long's his suspension? 8 or 6?
6 weeks. It's 6 weeks. So it ends. He hits the bye week, and then week 8. So that's going to be his first game back.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be his first game back. You got
wait. Any primetime game, you can assume it's a loss as well. For the Vikings.
They play a 1. They're good. It could be a good game. Commanders, I think that's a win. Bills, that's going to be super tough, man. But Diggs versus former team in Buffalo, though. It's going to be a great game, though. Taking the Bills, obviously. Cowboys, Patriots, Jets. Try to get – you're winning that Jets game. I'll pick anyone against the Jets. But split Cowboys and Patriots. And then you got Lions, Colts, Giants. I think that's a pretty easy 3 schedule. I don't know how the Colts are really going to be around that point. If Jonathan Taylor goes down, they're done. But I won't predict that. I think I'd agree. I think I have them over. I'm thinking 9-10 wins.
Yeah,
Not like
exactly.
super over, but I do believe 8.5 is kind of low for a team that I think has huge wild card potential. Kirk Cousins is going to have
Run
one
to
of
the
his first
books.
pass heavy seasons since entering whatever type of prime Kirk Cousins is. But that's the 8.5 is over. 8.5. Me and Danny are both picking over for Minnesota. Right here, let's talk Lions. Lions are a tricky one. A lot of people think, oh, all right, well, they lost some very close ones. They re-upped a little bit. They got Jameson Williams, huge grab, and they're set at 6.5. Danny, what do you think?
It pains me. I want to take the over. I think they have made so many more improvements. I'm going to take the over.
You want
I
to take
think
the
they,
over?
I think they got out. I think they win like 6 or 7 games. I
Well,
think
let's
they're
look.
right on the edge of competing.
If we're looking at the schedule, honestly, it's hard to look. You don't know how teams are going to come out next year. You just got to find 7 winnable games, and the Bears are 2 of them. The Jets are one of them. You play the Panthers. I think that's 4 wins you could snag. Week 18, there's probably a sitting Packers. It's 5. Um, the Giants could be a close one. That could be your 6. You're not sure. And you could always sneak. Oh, they play the Seahawks. That's 6. So they got the 6 wins. I think it's a matter of gutting one out. They play the NFC East this year. They got to play the Eagles, Commanders, Giants, and
They could beat the
Cowboys.
Commanders.
I think they could beat the Giants too. I would. I think we could say over here. I think we could confidently say over, as long as they clear their 2 wins against the Bears. Maybe split one in your division. I think they got it. I don't know about wild card, but I think they can get 7 wins.
They
With the
definitely
addition
can.
of Aiden Hutchinson, Jameson Williams, arguably the 2 best players at their spot coming out of this draft.
One name I'll mention, Jeff Okuda. Many people are going to call him a draft bust and X, Y, and Z. He has not played much. He's going to make himself known why he was the 4th overall pick a couple years ago. He might have been 3rd.
I think him and Diggs are in the similar situation where they get drafted and they immediately have to go guard the best players on the planet. Like that's tough. Like that is hard. No matter how good of a corner you are, how highly touted you are, that is difficult. I agree. I think he's going to be phenomenal this year. Getting run with Jameson Williams is going to make you a lot better. I think it's a year he steps up his game. I truly do believe that. Now, the one team we have yet to do is the Bears. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Got to do the Bears. The Bears are also at 6.5.
I'm taking the under.
I'm not.
I think they're better.
I'm not even looking at their schedule. I'm going under, and it sucks. I like Justin Field a lot. They just not like this is a significant move. They traded for former first-round pick N'Keal Harry. I can't see them getting.
I love him because
he's got potential. I do think he's a potential. He's a good blocker, but he can't get much separation on his routes, which is huge for a young quarterback who needs to. He's always got hits on the tight window. He doesn't have good protection. It'll be tough. I can't see them mustering up 7 wins. I can't do it.
I think the Bears should move N'Keal Harry to tight end. He's 6'3",
That's not a bad take. A lot of guys who can block but can't create separation really do thrive in a tight end role. They usually get free releases. It really works in their favor. Free releases. You're much more important to the game as a blocker. I'd agree. Same thing we did with J-Jaw, except J-Jaw's getting cut. But
yeah, here's the thing. N'Keal Harry would be like J-Jaw on steroids.
Yeah, he'd be a lot better than J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. I do like the move for the Bears. You only had to send a 7th, which maybe that is what he's worth. But
2024 7th.
There's potential there, though. But also credit to the Patriots for even getting anything. A lot of people weren't big on N'Keal Harry there. So I like the move for both ways, actually, considering it was just that for a 7th. I can't see the Bears getting 7 wins. I'm sorry. I love Justin Fields. He was my quarterback 2 coming out of the draft. I can't see it, man. So, of course,
I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope Justin Fields can prove me wrong.
I hope Justin Fields has a phenomenal year and the Bears suck, but with the win totals, the win predictions we made, we can obviously tell Packers, Vikings, Lions, Bears.
How it should be.
Exactly. How
it's been.
Yeah, how it's been for a while. I mean, we need some spice. I can't wait for next week when we do I guess maybe, I don't know. I was going to do the South next week, but that's not really going to be surprising. But that's for next episode. That's for next episode, man. One thing we actually didn't get to do because we opened the show with Chris talking about the Lakers. We're going to end it on our summits and plummets. I'm going to let you go first, Dan.
My summit has got to go to Kyle Schwarber.
Yes.
Man, is it still June? Is it June 45th or something like that? Because Kyle Schwarber is still hitting lights out. And it's a shame that Yordan Alvarez got hurt. The Astros outfielder, DH type guy. Because Yordan Alvarez, if he didn't exist, Kyle Schwarber would be getting so much talk right now. Because Yordan Alvarez did what Schwarber did, but even better. But then he just got hurt. So you can't really... He might have been in MVP talks as a DH and barely plays the field, which is absurd. But what I will say is Kyle Schwarber, he's still hitting the baseballs. And like Nick Castellanos said, I get paid to hit baseballs. But Castellanos isn't hitting the baseball like he should.
Yeah, he doesn't hit the baseball. So you get paid
Schwarber said, I get paid to actually hit baseballs. And he's doing it.
So I was gonna have a different summit because I thought you said you were gonna pick this one, but you didn't. But I'm gonna go with the Orioles. These dudes have won 9 straight. They won 44 games. They're 500. They only won 52 games last year. Now, celebrating mediocrity is like, but it's the Orioles. They suck.
They're 2 games out. No, they don't suck anymore.
They used to suck. But
their bullpen is top 5. Their staff is missing their ace, John Means.
And winning 9 straight in baseball is disgusting. That's nasty.
It's like winning because you play the same team 3 times in a row in baseball. So you either get lucky with your schedule and you're playing a trash team, or I don't know. Here's the thing,
or you're just beating people's ass.
Like, do the Celtics have a time where they play like the Rockets and then go play like the Hornets and then play the Rockets and then play the Hornets again? Like, there's not a time in basketball.
We have that a lot with the Hornets, actually. I remember several times where we've played the Hornets 2 of our 3 games, or there's times where we play the Hornets back to back. I don't know why the Hornets, but I don't know. Maybe maybe Miles Bridges comes into the locker room.
In any other sport, but especially in baseball,
when you're seeing a team so many times, it's harder to beat them back to back to back. Because you're seeing them so much, you develop a game plan differently. That's how it is in basketball, at least. That's why it's a lot easier to play for Rudy Gobert, because you're going to get him for at least 4 games instead of like, all right, how are we going to stop him for this 1 game? I do see the vision. But the credit to the Orioles, man. Like, not a lot of people should be celebrating 500, but for them, it's real different. It's been a long road, and winning 9 straight to get there. They were sitting at 35 and 44, and you're a bit out, and they're like, no, what? Let's lock in. You win 9 straight, you're in the wild card race, man. That's huge. That is huge, man. You can go ahead with your plummet.
My plummet of the week is in the NHL. I'm going to throw a side summit real quick. The Penguins re-signed Evgeny Malkin after he tested free agency last night. Longtime guy, Gino back in Pittsburgh. But the plummet really goes to the Blackhawks. They're about to trade away 2 players who have been with the organization for 10 plus years. And it just sucks because it's like an end of an era for them. It's more of like an emotional plummet for all the Blackhawks fans than anything, because they need to enter a rebuild because they're just not what they used to be. But still, it's hard to do.
I can't act like I knew anything you were talking about, but losing a all-time guy is as terrible.
Two of them. They're two.
Yeah, that's a hurt piece. You don't like losing
That'd
the
be like the
franchise
Celtics
guys and all
losing
that. Don't say it.
Brown
I
and
don't want to think
Tatum.
about it. I don't want to
It'd be
think
like
about it.
Brown and
Don't say
Tatum
it. Don't
getting shipped
no.
out 10 years together.
Don't say that. Not happening. Now, my plummet of the week are Chet Holmgren haters. Sick of it. When has a player ever come into the league and they're like so concerned with his defense and his post defense? Palo is not a good ISO defender. Why don't no one talk about that? Chet Holmgren could be an elite 3-level scorer. He's a good playmaker. He can rebound. He can block shots. But the only thing you care about is his post defense. Get real. Sure, he got bullied on that against Kenny Lofton. Is that his name for the Grizzlies?
I don't know his
Something
name.
like that. He's a big guy. He's a big guy, and he could shoot. He was playing really well. They're like, oh, watch when he goes against Zion and Giannis and Embiid. I wasn't aware you played the same 3 dudes for every 82 games of the year. I didn't know that. Did you?
Here's the thing. Zion struggled when he played Taco Fall a little bit.
That was 2 years ago. Taco Fall is kicking rocks outside the NBA, and Zion's one of the 15 best players in the world when he's healthy.
Yes, that is very true. But
no, I do agree. I mean, Taco was a hard because college basketball spacing is difficult, and like Zion's thing is about downhill, Zion smash, raw. But like
Jaleel, moves.
But and Taco was just taking up so much space on a small court. So yeah, I can see why you think that. But Chet is going to be okay. Plummet to the haters. Screw y'all. If you don't like Chet Holmgren, come see me about it. Come see us about it. If you don't like Chet Holmgren, if you don't like Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, Jaden Ivey, Keegan Murray, come see us.
Keegan Murray should really be the summit of the week.
He's him. Well, he was my summit. He was my summit last week, so I can't do that. But I mean, maybe I could, I guess. But that's all from us today. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Chris, for joining us earlier. Remember, guys, every like and download, $2 to the Mamba and Mambacita Forts Down Station. Help us help others in their journeys to achieving their dreams. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, basically any podcast platform. Again, thank you for tuning in, and make sure you guys catch us next week.
Have a great week. Tune in.